Hey guys, Nicole here, and I have a layout share for you. I have just been working off and on with multiple different collections and products and just trying to kind of just play and use up my stash. I will just kind of go through some details as I go through the layouts. Not a ton, but just to kind of give you a general idea of what collections I'm working with or probably what manufacturers I'm working with. To be honest with you, I always forget the names of collections. Um, but I'm going to move these here. I got quite a stack here. Some of these I think I've already shown you, so I'll skip those. But um, I've been working with a lot of Vicki Boutin, and this is one of those. So this was actually I had pre-done the base part of the page. Let me see if I can get you closer here. And in a class and had kind of put them away and kind of put them away for later to put pictures onto. And sometimes I don't do well with that, but I really try to make sure I get back to those and keep it with a collection of supplies and then get photos on that there, get journaling on there, and finish embellishing if I need to. So it felt really good to kind of get some unfinished projects completed. And so this is one of those. I have a couple of different collections of hers combined. Kind of try to keep her like brighter collections combined, and I've combined her collections are more distressed and have like kind of darker tones, and this is one of the brighter ones, so I have pretty much most of her collection. So anyway, and so I just love this, but not my design, but it was just a fun, and what I do is when you take a class, maybe it's a class that comes with a kit, this I think was from Scrapbooking Cards Today, one of their maybe fall festivals or spring festival things where you order a big box of supplies and then you get like 3 days of classes that go along with it. I still do it how they do it in the class, and then what I do is go and find photos that match it. And so these, use a lot of like the coloring pencils and the artsy. There were a couple different spreads that were focused on creating and making, and so it was just fun to go through my camera roll and say, okay, what pictures do I have that actually match the theme of this page I've already done? And I had pictures of my daughter making their senior jeans, right? They had the glue guns out. They had all the pom poms and the glitter and the glitter glue and paint and stuff like that. And so it was perfect. So it just kind of is a different way to approach a layout, is by starting with a theme of the page and then finding the photos to go with the product. So it was just a fun, colorful page, and I just did a photo of them working and then a couple smaller photos, some of the details, and then I did some journaling on a tag there. So there's that one. Also from the same class, or I know this was a pre-made page or spread, using Vicki Boutin supplies. And oops, I'm cutting off here. Sorry. I'll try to do it this way here. I don't know if I'm gonna make it back out a little bit. There we go. Sorry, I'm on the edge of the table because I'm trying to get rid of so you don't have the glare, and so I get a little bit, oops, wrong way. So you see some carpet, but so this is a 2-page spread again, because the way the page was created was using really these artsy supplies and the scissors and the word create and those kinds of things. I just went and through my camera roll, and then I had pictures of my daughter working on their senior scrapbook together with some friends. And so that worked out perfect. And so I just went ahead and printed those photos off to match the photo sizes that were kind of pre-done on the page and made that work. So that was a lot of fun. And then this one was just one of my pages, but I just kept the Vicki Boutin supplies out. And then what I did is I have supplies that are specific to like school, music, band, all the kind of school types of supplies. So I pulled out some of my music vellum and added that. So I kind of keep if there's theme supplies that I want to use, I'll kind of put that off to the side, and then I'll just incorporate that into whatever kit I'm working with. And so this was just a whole bunch of photos of a send-off for our daughter for All-State music. And I just used that music paper in the background, and then just a bunch of Vicki Boutin supplies, and for the titles and embellishments. So super colorful, a lot of fun. What I liked about this particular set of supplies is that she has this, you can't see a ton of it, but this royal blue color, and kind of sprinkled in this couple of her collections. You see it there. And our school is royal blue. And so I don't want every school themed layout to be royal blue, black and white. That gets kind of boring after a while. Because a lot of the, cheerleading and those graduation, those kinds of theme supplies tend to be more black and white, or I found some that are the royal blue, black and white. But it's fun to have, incorporate those items into collections that have more color. So I love that these collections have some of that royal blue in it, because it just helps bring that together a little bit. It's always a struggle for me, is I always, if my daughter's wearing a cheerleading uniform that's white, blue, and black, I want the layout, it's weird for me to put that on a layout with a whole bunch of different colors. And so it's fun to find that healthy balance for me, and what I like that is bringing in some other colors, but still keeping in that royal blue and white and black in there. So. Okay. This is another 2-page spread, again, that I had pre-done in a class, and just added the photos to. And so much fun. Like, I would never think to do stuff like that. So that's what's fun about taking classes, and is I just create backgrounds of pages that I wouldn't normally otherwise create. And so it's just fun to do a different style every so often. And so this one, again, was from that same All-State musical, and I just printed off some of the individual pictures from that, she had sent me throughout the couple of days that she was there, and put those on there. And so in some instances where I maybe put some stickers down that had a phrase, if it didn't match, I just took that back off and put a different one down that more matched of what my actual photos. So if you are, because sometimes what I like to do is, if I'm in the mood to scrapbook, but I'm not really in the mood to do the full process, I just want to play with my product. But if you're worried about doing that because you're like, well, I don't know what photos will be on here, I don't know why I would do that. That doesn't make sense. Like I said, you can usually find photos that are going to match the product, but you can always, if you either use temporary adhesive or just put a little adhesive just right in the middle, but don't completely tack it down, you can always, change the embellishment up later when you actually put photos on the layout. So, anyway, that's something I did a couple times here or there, to make, so, some of the phrases don't always make sense with every collection, or every collection of photos. So, but most of the time they're pretty, usable for most pages. Get closer again here. Okay, so here's a single page. This one, yes, I had already pre-done a while back. And so I just added in the photos. I added in a music note embellishment here from a Hobby Lobby pack. And I think I added in the butterflies extra. I think a couple were already on there, but I just added those extra. But the rest of it was already pre-done. I had pre-done a while back. And so, so I like that the photos from this particular event, this All-State musical, or All-State choir event that she went to, are all, there were so many photos from the 3 days or whatever but I like that they all are in Vicki Boutin product. So they all work well together, but they're all different. So they're single pages, double pages, but they're getting lots of different aspects of the story told. Okay. So, except for this one. So I did want to actually, I got out my Blue Hill themed supplies, my school themed supplies, and I had these photos of her in her Blue Hill choir gown. And so I'm like, this is a great, I actually had pre-made this a while back, the background, And I was like, okay, what photo should I use for that? And so I will have these sprinkled in throughout. I do want, to have some of them that are very specifically like blue, white, and black or whatever. Like, I'm happy to use up my supplies I've collected over time. Anytime I see paw prints, music notes, royal blue, black and white, like I try to grab them, and so I want to get them used up. And I also have some Blue Hill specific theme supplies that some local scrapbook stores have carried. So here I just did a 1-page spread, and then I did a protector with the rest of the photos of the details of the actual concert itself. And so there's that. Okay, this is also Vicki Boutin, but actually a different kit I have of hers together where they're more of the darker tones. And the reason I had that collection out again, in my last video I had some layouts I'd used for those that had more of the burgundies and the royal or the navy blues and the darker tones. And my daughter for prom wore like a burgundy like plum colored dress, and so I pulled that collection right back out because I knew it had a lot of this plum color in there. But this actual layout is actually about TBC Honor Band. I stuck to the girls' dresses, and it just the papers and stuff I had in front of me worked really well. And so I'm trying to think if I must have scraplifted this from someone. I don't know, maybe Instagram. But I did a circle there. And the circle itself had music notes in it, which is perfect. And although I covered a lot of them up, so I cut some out from one of the scraps and then actually layered them on so you could see more of the music notes in the background. But then just layered kind of on a diagonal, have some strips down this way to kind of ground it this way. But I really love how this one turned out. I think it turned out really pretty. Okay, we're kind of skipping around. Actually, let me do the rest of these Vicki Boutin ones here. Okay. So here are some prom pictures. Again, that Vicki Boutin collection had a lot of this really pretty plum color, and so I just pulled as much of that in as I could, and then I grabbed I have a separate folder for I call it like a formal folder. So anything that I think would work well with prom pictures, wedding pictures, anything that's formal. And so I pulled that collection out and kind of combined it with, I kept it to the side, but I incorporated some of those supplies with the Vicki Boutin supplies. And so this was from, I think, a Hobby Lobby pack. It said prom in gold, but the rest of it's all Vicki Boutin. Just real simple, just one little strip of vellum. And then I fussy cut some of the florals, making sure that the plum color shows up there, and then there's some plum color in the butterflies. And my daughter's dress was kind of more of a burgundy. It was kind of almost a mix between these two colors, but I think it just works really well together. And this kind of red paper in the back is a really deep red that really feels like it just all kind of works together. Nothing exactly matched her dress, but as a whole, it all, like, the colors all really work well together. So there's that one. And then this one, just doing the corsage and boutonniere. And so I just did some layers this way, some layers this way, and then embellishment just around. Kind of tucked in some flowers. And did some over here. And this one, I love me a good text print background paper. Like, if I had an entire stack of like text print paper, I would be in heaven, because I love using them for backgrounds. I love using them in bits and pieces. Like, I love text paper, or like paper that has like cursive writing on it even. Like, I just love word paper, but especially this kind, like white and black, is perfect. And it's not so busy to have as a background. It's almost like you're using a white background, but it has added interest to it. So I really love that. So here I did 2 clusters, a picture of me and my daughter and my husband and my daughter. And this was also a scrap lift, I think, from Instagram. And I just did these really fun layers behind, use some of the her vellum stickers there, and just did lots of some tearing. And these were like those vellum stickers that were in a couple of her collections. This is some fun layering that used the butterfly, some tags. I made some banners, used some tags here and underneath. So that was a fun one to do. I really like how that one turned out. Okay, and then I may get back to Vicki Boutin possibly, but I also pulled some Shimelle out. I have basically all my Shimelle supplies combined together, just because most of her collections all really work well together. And I just needed some kind of non-distressed, brighter supplies to work with for some photos I wanted to get done. This particular one was a picture of my daughter singing, and she was wearing purple in one and then like a navy blue in the other, just because those are the colors that she wears for her different choir groups she's in college. So I just found this paper that had this navy blue paper, but it had this really pretty lavender color in it. And I did some stamping with some music note stamps there, not a whole lot, but a little bit in navy blue, and then just did some florals and embellishing around the cluster there. So again, this is all Shimelle product there. And then this is a 2-page spread that I did of a musical that she was in, her first musical, and just wanted to get that documented. And a lot of brighter colors, and had that vintage, just because of the nature of the musical. Was like a record player based thing. It's called The Drowsy Chaperone. Anyway, the record player is a big piece of this storyline, and so I just went through some of my product, and some of this is from Shimelle, but I think most of the records that I found are from other collections that I pulled in. And so I just kept that, included that in with the Shimelle supplies, just to keep that theme going throughout the layout. And so I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 photos. I had a big cluster here, and then a cluster up here, and a cluster up here, and then some other embellishing throughout. I pulled in some music note themed supplies from probably Hobby Lobby, and just had a lot of fun with the colors of this layout. Were a lot of fun. So there's that. A lot of 2-page spreads. I don't do those too often, but I have a lot of photo groupings I need to get scrapbooked, and so I'm finding myself needing to do more 2-page spreads. This is a 1-page. So this is actually, I also pulled out Maggie Holmes for a while. I pulled out all my Maggie Holmes and organized it. And so this is just a fun, it's just a picture of me and my daughter watching Netflix. So we're in comfy clothes, our hair is, a mess, but we had snapped a quick selfie, and I wanted to document it because it's one of our favorite things to do when she's home, is we just both relax, and, it's a break for her, and we will find a TV series and we'll binge watch it and just hang out together. So I did some journaling on some journaling blocks there, some butterflies, just put Netflix and chill along the side there. So, and just some layers of some fun patterns there. And some more Maggie Holmes. This is also scrap lift. I don't remember who. Usually I just go to Instagram and just go through all the pages that I've marked and figure one out that works with the photos I'm using. So some background photos of my daughter in preparation for one of her plays that she was in, and wanted to document that. And so I just followed the sketch and just used kind of this color scheme, and then just found fun embellishments that match those colors, interspersed some black in there kind of throughout, but I love how that turned out. And then looks really crooked to me, but I don't think I'm going to be able to fix that right now anyway, maybe later. So just, I love that kind of looked like a mirror, because it was I don't know, like a Victorian themed play or whatever, and I thought that felt really natural to go with those photos. So love how that turned out. And I thought these, like, look like like the curtains. So I just kind of went for all the different imaging that matched the theme of the photos. And then some more Maggie Holmes. And this one was about our kids making state speech. And so I kind of went through her collections and pulled out some, I knew she had some ribbon themed embellishments. And this one was just a lot of fun. Just I went again, she has royal blue in some of her collections, and since they were all in different clothing here, it didn't really matter. But so I kind of went with the colors that were in there. They had pinks and royal blues and grays. And so I had this numerical paper back here that worked out because, it's all about placing, like the Facebook post was about who placed and what. So I thought the numbers worked well, and then as well as the ribbons. So yeah. And just layered some vertical stripes of paper there, and then one kind of horizontal block. But then there's also some layers behind the photo itself, so there's lots of different layers here. So I use some washi that's already coming up. Okay. And I think this is more Maggie. More Maggie Holmes. But one of her more kind of darker collections, like more vintage collections. And the photo just kind of called for more of the browns and dark yellows and greens. And so I just did a bunch of flower layering and layers of paper behind and some washi. Used up a couple fabric bows, which these actually aren't Maggie Holmes. These are I think they're from Crate Paper, but they're from a different collection. I don't know. This I think was maybe in my stash, but just used up some fun supplies there. I love how that turned out. Just a good picture of my daughter and her friends. Okay, this was like a really random, like one of those kind of collection packs from Hobby Lobby that aren't the best quality. Well, there's not horrible. No, I have it layered. That's why. It's just like really thin paper. And so I didn't play with it very much. I think made this one layout. But I just wanted to, I'm in the mood to just pull out all my supplies and like see what I have again. Cause a lot of them I've just put away and haven't touched in a while. So I've been kind of pulling packs of things out and trying to organize things and play with my product. And so this was, again, a Hobby Lobby pack that I had, and just had these photos of me and my girls, and we had like this burgundy and blue and green going on. So I thought that this worked well, that had this burgundy and these florals back here. And so just layered some of the fun papers and some of the stickers. It's like it came with like maybe 6 pieces of paper and one small sticker sheet, and it, didn't have a whole lot of supplies with the collection, but I just wanted to play with something different that I had had for a while, so that was fun. And then I don't think I've shown you guys this, let's see. So I off and on have been trying to work through some of my some heritage photos and supplies, and I have a bazillion heritage supplies, so I need to get them used up. But I made this, I've been on Ancestry.com, and so I printed off, I don't think I've shown these yet. If I have, I apologize. I printed off some, just some stuff from my grandpa's life, from when he was drafted, and his registration card for the draft, those kinds of things. And so I made this layout. Just, I really do love like the heritage supplies. I like the bright and colorful and the Maggie Holmes and she has a lot of really heritage vintage supplies too. But it's just fun to play with something different every so often. And so it was fun to kind of get back into kind of the distressed vintage feel. But it's also really fun to document print off actual documents, and this is what really scrapbooking is about, right? Like it's about all of it, but this is really, documenting this type of stuff. So And then one more here from, again, a variety of supplies. I think I had a Simple Stories collection I was working with, one of their vintage collections. But I have a whole bunch of heritage stash, so I think I used a variety. But this one was one of just my grandpa. Just one of the ways I always remember him whenever he actually had a chance to relax. He was always laying on the couch and reading the paper and smoking a cigarette, and that's how I remember him. And so I happened to have these 3 photos, and it just had that really pretty, like, minty green color there, and so I just kind of took advantage of that. And this actually really looks closely to what their house looked like. Just that, I don't know, just the style. And so I thought I wanted to make sure that showed up there. But I love the background paper is just like household items, and it was about him being on this couch, and I love how that turned out. So this paper back here is so pretty. The florals in that. Okay, and then a few weeks ago, I have a lot of variety in this layout share, you guys. So a few weeks ago, I was in the mood to document, like, my daughter sings the national anthem. She sang it for state girls wrestling, state cross country meets. She sings at the school, different things, at the 4th of July parade. And so both of my girls have done that, but my oldest daughter doesn't do that as much anymore now that she's in college. But my youngest one has been saying it a lot this last year. And so I really wanted to get those documented, especially when, it was a big honor to be picked to perform at the state girls wrestling meet in Omaha. And so anyway, I also wanted to document her last anthem that she sang at the school and those kinds of things. And so, I'm not sure where this star came from. Anyway, so I pulled out my 4th of July themed product because, again, I'm very themey, and it makes sense to me if I have 4th of July product to get used up. If I'm going to, document her singing the national anthem, that made sense to use those supplies. So here is actually documenting her very last time she sang it at the school. You guys, she only has like 8 more days left of school. It's crazy. She graduates in 3 weeks. So I wanted to document that, and she had a selfie with her music teacher, and so I focused this particular layout on her and her music teacher. We call her choir mom. I got a picture of them hugging, and then they had taken a selfie, and use the 4th of July collection that's a little bit more muted, not like the crazy, like, red, white, and blue bright colors, more the muted red, white, and blue colors. And just love how that turned out. So, lots of layers, and I pulled some wood veneers out of my stash. This I've had for forever, this felt ribbon, and just pulled out my 4th of July supplies and just played. This is from that same night, but is more focused on just the overall her singing. And then my husband announces the game, so he was up there and actually had announced her, and so I got a picture of them hugging and her singing, and then some close-ups of her singing, and then some from further away, and everyone clapping for her. So that was just a fun evening to document. It was kind of a big deal because our girls have been singing the national anthem for school events for the last, 7 years, because they were in school together for 1 year. So 7 years of like watching our girls do this, and it was the last one. Except for, we'll have other things that they'll sing it for. We have Memorial Day coming up, and she'll sing for some things then. But as far as for the school, did a QR code so I can click on that and see her actual performance. And I just did a diagonal thing here with the pattern paper, and then did some embellishing kind of again on this diagonal as well. And it's kind of the embellishing is scattered throughout, but so there's that. Told you I like such a huge variety of product I played with the last couple months since I've done a layout share, or recorded one, I should say. I sometimes record them and then take a couple months to actually upload them, but that's just me. So this is some old product. This is like an old, I think, Bo Bunny. I think it was, no, I don't even know. I think it was actually Hobby Lobby. This acetate sheet that's layered over this really busy Bo Bunny paper. And I got it used up. I've had it in my stash for forever. And I thought it worked well because it had these, it just said All American, and it had these stars. And then I just pulled in some kind of what I felt like is like a rodeo themed or Western themed American product for this. So I just, there's some embellishment on top, but a lot of the embellishment is underneath and just in between the two layers there. So, but it was a great way to tone down this red polka dot paper. I love that it has that distressed look to it that felt more, I don't know, country to me, I guess. But I love how that turned out. I'm sorry if there's glare, but. And so this is a picture of her singing the anthem at a rodeo. And I journaled on there, but you can't see it real well. It's on a navy blue paper, but used some wood veneers. I thought these felt very kind of Western to me, so that was fun to add on. So hopefully you guys can see everything okay. Okay. And from that same night, we always go and eat barbecue before the rodeo starts, and so I had taken a picture of my girls just because I wanted to. And I think I'd seen this was from I scraplifted that idea from somebody. I think they didn't use stars, they used something else. But I'm like, oh, I can use these stars and do that, and use up some twine. I mixed some twine with some red and white and blue and white twine on there, and like baker's twine, and then there's some actual like real twine there, and then just did like a big banner behind, but then did some layering underneath and embellishing. Love this floral paper behind here. Again, these are all 4th of July collections, and they don't necessarily all look like it, but a lot of the more current 4th of July collections are still in the red, white, and blue category, but they've added in some other colors. They've made them more muted or darker. It's just fun to have a good variety of 4th of July supplies or patriotic theme supplies on hand. So they don't all look the same. And I did one more, and this is very busy and very just patriotic. And I just documented the most recent election. I grabbed some photos and from just the day from the TV, from things that had happened during the election cycle. We at my coffee shop, we had some Americana themed caps for our coffee, so I took a picture of that because I used those during that day. Picture of me and my daughter staying up really late to watch the election results. And again, very busy. I just did a lot of patriotic theme supplies around these photos. So, and then I had found a gal, and oh gosh, it's like Cut It Up Creations or something. I'll have to look, but I found a gal on YouTube that took a collection, and then not super specifically, but fairly specifically, like goes through and tells you how to cut up the collection and then put them together. And she's created, anywhere from 4 to 8 layouts with a particular collection. And so I sat down and I went through, and I had like, I don't know, she has quite a few videos, but I only had like maybe 5 or 6 collections that she had worked with. So I went and just did that because I was in the mood to play, but I wasn't in the mood to fully scrapbook, but I just wanted to like play with paper. And so one of the collections that she had worked with was a Simple Stories Vintage Garden, or one of their spring collections. And so these are all from that. So these are pages I created by basically copied. I changed up some things because maybe I didn't have everything that she had, but not totally my style. A lot of pattern. I didn't have as much of the solid cardstock as she had, so I just kind of made some things work. But so I sat down and probably made, I don't know, I went through 3 or 4 of her videos and just made a whole bunch of background layouts. And then a few weeks later, I went through and added in the photos. And so this is one just from last prom. So not this last year, but the year before. And just is, it's during the spring and I had a spring dress on because we actually chaperoned the prom that year. And so I scrapbooked those photos with this collection of supplies. So it was just a great way to get a couple collections used up and just, again, I'm trying to use my stash. So there's one layout from that collection. I'm trying to remember what the actual name is. It's one of their Simple Stories spring collections from probably 2 or 3 years ago. So here's this one. I just found some spring concert photos, and again, like I said, I included the finished page or the pages without the photos with the supplies so that I could add on more embellishment if I needed to, or if I needed to move some things around. And so once I knew what photos were going on there, then I added the titles and some of the extra embellishing. And so anyway. And another one where I focus on one of my daughter's friends. There. And the last one from this collection from Easter a couple years ago. And then this is the same process, but this is using a Pink Fresh collection that I happen to have on hand. And so this is documenting some speech photos. And it had like this kind of darker blue in there along with this turquoise blue, and the photos had lots of like the yellows in there, and so I just kind of thought that they worked well together. Plus speech is also in the spring, at least here it is. And so that worked out. And then this one, documenting getting ready to go to a movie and going to a movie with my college girl and her friend that was with us for a few days, and just wanted to document that. They just had like the yellow pants going on and the pink and the green because of course it was Wicked. So so that was fun. I love using those bows. I have a ton of those fabric bows, so it's fun to use those up. I don't remember which collection. I just know it's Pink Fresh. This one documented some of the Allstate photos, kind of more specifically about one of the events. So this really will not match all those Vicki Boutin pages at all, but that's okay. It's not a huge deal. This is its own story in itself, and so. My girls' scrapbooks are very eclectic, and it is okay. I'm okay with that. This one here, love how this one turned out, and my daughter happened to be wearing this really great, like, kind of periwinkle outfit that just matched kind of the blues and, I don't know, the different blue tones in the papers, so I scrapbooked that. Lots of layers on this one. Again, a lot busier backgrounds than I normally do, but it's fun to change it up every so often. So, and then the last collection, I think I have a couple more pages that I don't have photos added to yet, because I want to go to some of my youth photos, I think, to finish up using those spreads. But this was also from that YouTuber. I think it's Cut It Up Creations. But I had used this collection. This is like oh my gosh, there was like a boy and a girl collection. I'm trying to remember what brand it was. Echo Park. I think Echo Park, and it just was very like retro and so fun. And I used a lot of the collection to actually scrapbook a New Kids on the Block, Tiffany, and Debbie Gibson concert that I went to, which was perfect. But I have a lot of supplies left, and so she happened to have a video using both the girl one and the boy one, and so I did some of the spreads for both of them because I didn't have all the stuff left, but I could make it work. And so this is one of those pages, and I remembered I have this photo of my daughter and a couple of her friends with wigs on and just having a good time, and I thought it was perfect. So again, this is one where I ended up kind of pulling off some of the stickers I'd put on and putting on different ones that more matched the theme of the photo. And so anyway, just a fun layout there. So there's 2 or 3 more pages that don't have photos on them yet from this collection, but I'll just show them when I actually get them done. So I think that's it, you guys. That was a lot of layouts and a lot of variety, but it's been fun. Just like I'm just trying to immerse myself in my collection of supplies. I'm really trying hard not to shop, although they're making it really hard. There's some really fun collections out right now that I want, but I'm trying really hard just to shop my stash. I'm trying to print off classes that I've purchased and get those done and used, and um, finish any projects that have, that I've done that where I've again like created layouts but don't have the photos on them yet. So just trying to get all that, just trying to plug away and get my stash used. So thank you guys so much for watching, and hopefully I'll be back soon with another layout share. Thank you so much. Bye bye.